The panel is going to be led by Baybars Altuntas, the executive chairman of the WBAF. So if you could take the stage, I would like to introduce the rest of our panel that will be joining Baybars. Starting with Her Excellency Melinda Duka, the Minister for European Integration from Albania. If you could please join us. Thank you very much. We would like to welcome His Excellency Simonisa Duma, who is the Provincial Minister of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Also, His Excellency Numane Ferry, the former Minister of the Digital Economy for Tunisia. Thank you. And completing our panel, we welcome His Excellency Fabio Righi, who is the Minister of Industry, Handicraft and Trade, Technological Research and Regulatory Simplification for San Marino. Thank you very much. This is your panel, and Baybars, we turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, dear Andrew. Dear ministers, thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, we have a last-minute change in the minister. Sorry, we couldn't change it because we received the information this morning. The president of EU is making a commission. EU is making a visit to Albania, so Madam Minister couldn't join in person, but delegated her role to the investment director of Albania. So I want to start from the ladies' first rule and how we can include more women in boards. For example, we are now 5 people here, 20% of the chairs belong to a woman. How can we increase this, and how can startups, entrepreneurs, investors, governments, economies benefit from this transition?
Hello, I don't know if it's still morning, but good morning. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm sorry for the last-minute change. My name is Florenza Hagi. I've been working in the Prime Minister office for about 8 years, more than 8 years, working with Ms. Melinda Duka. Only recently, I became one of the executives of a new corporation, which is called Investment Corporation of Albania. Regarding your question, I think that you should follow the model of Albania. We have a representation of the women in government of more than 80%. In parliament, about 35%. In local governments, about 50%. So we are following this model. We want women to be represented in the highest levels. Also in private sector, we have had this kind of development, and we see more and more women, not anymore only in medium-level positions, but having their own companies. They are executives in these companies, women that are investors. So I think that women have a lot of potential, and probably most of people know that. So people have, and governments have to exploit that potential, have to include women in every stage of policy making or investments or economic development of the country. I mean, they bring only success. So.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you are right. Statistics show that in COVID-19 times, institutions led by women gave better responses to challenges of the pandemic times. So the message is follow the Albania model, include more women. Thank you very much, Madam Minister, let's say, because you are representing her. Mr. Minister, your country, your KwaZulu-Natal is hosting the busiest port of Africa, and Durban is the second biggest economic contributor of South Africa. So how can we alert the investor community about the opportunities in your country? Opportunities there are also for early stage equity investors?
Thank you so much, Mr. Pipers. Greetings once again. I'm sure we're well aware of South African concept. Fortunately, today we've been represented by the spirit of Mandela. I think we are all aware that our environment is conducive. Earlier on, you saw the video which highlighted, in fact, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we've got 900 coastline. We've got mountains in the area. We've got beautiful infrastructure. A lot of investment companies have been into South Africa. The Toyotas, the Shell, the Sapref of this world, the Totals are there. Today they will tell you a story that they've been there. They've expanded. Currently there is a nice corridor from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, which will eventually take you to Gauteng province. We are currently preparing for the bullet train, so that it'll become easy for you even if you're coming from Gauteng province to KwaZulu-Natal. The environment is enabling. The people are warm, and fortunately as well, around our seashore, you can still invest when it comes to that. In terms of digitally, they are currently, we've put a lot of cable fiber so that the issue of fourth industrial revolution into 5 just transition become easy as well. Yes, we do have some deposits. We do have coal in the province. We've got sands, some small lithium in the area. So I think we are the province which is full of prosperity, and people are able to say that each time you come to KwaZulu-Natal, it's almost like a construction site, and we want more of that.
Yeah, we watched the video, climbing for the breakfast. It is, I hope we will not climb for the breakfast when we come to Durban, the minister, in the morning. I'm joking. Dear Minister Fahri, you delivered an excellent speech at the United Nations on the importance of digital economy when you were the digital economy minister of Tunisia. And you are also the president of the Maghreb Business Angels Network. So could you please tell us how the digitalization process of entrepreneurs can be supported by governments, according to you?
Thank you. Thank you very much. How much time are you giving me?
Until I...
You stop. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that speech, but we delivered on it. We delivered on the speech. And the story is that we had, when I became a minister, we had young people from the 21st century managed by people from the 20th century with laws from 19th century. And we were all using technology for the 15th century, which is paper. So there is no way we could connect these people together quickly. So we called on our youth and said, we promise you whatever you propose to us, we will do our best to deliver it. And we ended up, they told us, we don't need you. Dear government, we don't need you. We need you, Mr. Government, to leave us in peace to do our job. Said, okay, let's do a law for that. And we did the law, what is called the Startup Act. And Startup Act basically create a space for startups, which is totally different from the rest, because they cannot function, their business model are not the same. And the startup law, we put an operator to manage the startup ecosystem, or to support the ecosystem, or to defend it, the ecosystem. And we had a legal framework, ecosystem, we injected some money in the ecosystem for incubator, accelerator, etc. And then we created a fund to invest in startups. It's a 200 million fund. We raised only for now 60, we are raising 140 million to create 13 funds at seed stage, middle stage, growth, etc. And it did work. 5 years later, at that time we had very, very few startups. Today we have 700 until yesterday, 705 labeled startup, and one of them raised a few months ago 100 million. It was in London. Obviously, Tunisia market is small, so they had to grow and to go to the other market. They raised 100 million as an investment. It's in the intelligence, it's in the artificial intelligence business. And we have startups who are raising 20 millions, et cetera, et cetera. So together as a PPP, when government listen to entrepreneurs and leave entrepreneur in peace and tell, things could work and could work better, in our case, it's working not as fast as I wanted, but it is working well. Thank you.
Just a second. Thank you very much, dear Minister. I will come back to you. Thank you. Dear Minister, San Marino is not the biggest country of the world.
Yeah.
And could you please give some information about the economy of San Marino first? How entrepreneurs are able to establish their businesses? What are the main areas? Let's have an idea about the San Marino the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for this invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here today in this important event. San Marino is a most ancient republic in the world and one of the smallest republic in the world. Only 61 kilometers, the territory. But we have a small economy, yes, formed by medium and small companies, but it's very various. We have 5 economic districts in the Republic of San Marino. We are in Europe geographically, but not in European Union. And we have our particular story in the context of Europe. At the moment, it's a transformative moment for the Republic of San Marino, because even if the San Marino is a small country, have the same challenges in front of it's similar to other countries in the world at the moment. Our vision for the future of the Republic of San Marino is to become, in an international context, a technological hub in the middle of Europe. In my opinion, it's the new identity of the Republic of San Marino in international context. So we focus on the incentives about new technology applied to the economy. We created an ecosystem for startups, for example. If you invest in a technological startup, you obtain a lot of incentives in the Republic of San Marino, and you have a particular rules, particular laws applied to startups. But in the end, we tried at the moment to draft a new law in new sectors. Because I think the most important incentives for entrepreneurs and company is to have a lot of opportunity in new sectors of economy. So we draft a new law about blockchain, about fintech, about NFT. I propose to my government in the next month, for example, a law about benefit corporation, and I linked the system of incentives to this kind of companies. It's a good moment to invest in the Republic of San Marino, and I would like to think about the fact that every new solutions, every new ideas in the Republic of San Marino for the dimension of the territory could be a national solution. And I think it's a good occasion for all companies and enterprises because San Marino is a member of all international organizations. We have a vote in United Nations, for example, context, like a big state. And so I think it's a good marketing operation for companies, big companies in the Republic of San Marino. On this way, for example, I create a particular collaboration with Amazon Web Services. For example, last year, I drafted a specific MOU for total digitalization of our system for the application of cloud technology. And this is a challenge for us, but I think it's a great moment to do this and to support especially the digitalization process of our companies and for all companies that that chose the Republic of San Marino to invest. Thank you.
Dear Minister, I personally believe small is not always small. When you come to the stadium, two teams have 11 players. The important thing is not how big the club is. The important thing how well the players are good.
Yeah.
A good example is from Croatia. Croatia played against France in the World Cup. Croatia is not the biggest country of the world, but France didn't play it with the United States or other countries. It played with Croatia. So I think San Marino entrepreneurs can be also very instrumental to empower the world economy. Thank you very much, by the way.
Thank you too. Yeah, I
joining
totally
us
agree.
today. Thank
I
you.
totally agree. Thanks, especially with new technology and digitalization, it's possible.
I think San Marino is on its way to become a technology hub in the region. Yeah, digitalization. Dear Minister Fehri, we are inviting entrepreneurs to invest in digital transformation more. Why? Because before pandemic, digital transformation was a concern for big companies. But now it is a concern for even the small companies. But these small companies are suffering financially today. And we are inviting them to invest in digital transformation, which is not something cheap. So what is your comment about this, and how can, because I have never heard, for example, in the pandemic recovery plans of governments around the world, they put some financial support to entrepreneurs for their digital transformation phase. I have never heard this. What is your comment about this, and how can governments take more active role to support entrepreneurs for their digital transformation phase, financially, not verbally?
Yes, thank you. I think government should not help directly financing entrepreneur, but they should create the ecosystems that invest on entrepreneur. Why? Because entrepreneurs, specifically in digital space, they don't need a lot of money to start. They need, let's say, first to play 10K, then they need 100K dollars or euros, then they need 1 million to become a regional player, a local player, and then 10 million to become a regional player, and 100 million to become a global player. For each stage, they should be investor at each stage. At the stage of the 10 to 100, you have the business angel. It's too costly for a VC, for a venture capital, to do all the work for 50K. However, angel investors, as we have seen, that is their role. They identify the people, they invest in people to take them to the next level. The next level when they are investable, but very early stage VCs. Very early stage VCs are the people who invest a few 100,000 to $1 million, let's say, for them to go to the next step. Then once they are there, you have the VCs who invest the 10 million, etc. The role of the government is not to start to do that, because government is not good at that and cannot be good at that. However, he needs to make sure that the legislation as well as the ecosystem is funded to create the business angel networks, to create the VCs, etc. For example, in Tunisia, what we are doing for early stage VCs, if you want to make a 10 million fund to invest in early stage VC, the government, through this Startup Act, put 75%. You put 25%, they put 75%, because it's a risky business. Then when you go to, if you want to invest in the range of Series A, the government can top up 50%. And then when you go to higher, the government top up 25%. So the government acts as de-risker for the investors who are believing in these startups, because it's very risky for them to invest too early on, and the role of the government to make sure that they waive the risk by bringing this kind of ecosystem building.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you say co-investments in cooperation with angel investors and converting public money to smart money. Thank you. Dear Minister, in your province, how do you support entrepreneurs? Young entrepreneurs. What about young entrepreneurs? University students, they have an idea studying in your province. If they want to pitch it to angel networks, are there any angel networks, or is there anything in your program to support them financially or by mentorship or by education? Could you please share your wisdom about this?
Thank you so much. We've got different types that we use. Like, for instance, we've got foreign direct investment. In some instances that you'll find that you'll be given a grant of 50%, then you must also contribute in that grant. But remember as well, in our space, we've got Richards Bay, which is defined as a special economic zone, where if you invest or if you build around that zone, the rates will be lower so that you entice more environment. It's the same with Dube Trade Port. It's a special, or it's an ITZ, Industrial Development Zone, where if you invest around that part, it becomes easy. There are strategic areas as well, like, for instance, an incubation system, where we'll take a small, medium economic company, we monitor, like, for instance, in this financial year, I probably will give them 200,000, the next year 500,000, up until they're involved in the entire value chain. Because we also boast with a nice land or nice soil in the province, we are more involved in agriculture. At the process of agriculture, it is where as well you assist emerging farmers. You buy some stock, you give them some feed, but you make sure as well that at the end, the market is designed for them so that they are able to competitive edge, because it's one thing to assist a small business, but how about ensuring that they are also involved in the issue of competitive analysis, because they can't just compete with giant companies and all those things. Then last, it is critical that each time when we appropriate the budget as government, we must be mindful of specialized field. Like, for instance, the issue of technology, the issue of aviation, the issue of engineers, mining engineers. Government is always prioritizing those skills. Just ensure that you put more resources so that you are able to compete as a country, even in some schools, because of our maritime strength, as I've already highlighted, the issue of 900-kilometer coastline. So you've got local schools that must offer maritime, so that you don't wait until they finish schooling, then later they start the process. So they must start at a very developmental stage. Then we are involved through processes of insurances of those schools, through the issue of giving some incentives, through the processes of ensuring that all those are given some grants of some sort. So we are there as a country, and it has been working well, although we have suffered onslaught when it comes to COVID-19, like all other countries. And recently, as the province, we suffered with July, the unrest which took place in the country, and also the issue of flights. So we're balancing many equations in the province, but so far we are trying to make the means end.
By the way, I don't want to forget this. I think your province, Durban, will host the next Nelson Mandela lecturing with the Prime Minister of Barbados, isn't it, dear Mr. Hatang? Yeah. When is it? I may forget. Exact dates are in November. November 12th. Maybe you can invite everybody to join to this important lecture, which was lectured before with, I think, Bill Gates.
Yes.
I think Obama.
Obama has been there. Bishop Tutu has been there. In fact, the Nelson Mandela, I think, has been taken as an iconic on the world-renowned individuals, where earlier on Mr. Hatang spoke about the spirit of Ubuntu. If you just want to promote humanity, if you want to promote moral ethos and the good value of the entire global village, I think it's always, because it's a networking tool, but it's a matter of ensuring that how do we revolutionarily conscientize the entire space that we must live together as one in the world. The issue of racism has been outlined, and it has been something that is terrible, affecting even sport. So Nelson Mandela had that, and he stood for that, which is why he highlighted emphatic that I stood against white domination. I also fought against black domination. It means that he was balancing nature. So I think, please welcome to our country, come to South Africa. It will be a shared value, and we'll be glad we'll host you nicely.
Yes, as a guest of Mr. Minister. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Madam Minister, what are the investment opportunities in Albania? Why I am asking this question? Because Albania has fantastic beaches, coast, one of the diamonds of Adriatic. So could you please, and you are also very close to Italy, to San Marino, I think, isn't it very well connected region? What are the investment opportunities in Albania?
There are a lot of investment opportunities in Albania. We, as the government, we have done a lot of initiatives through the years in order to attract investments and to attract strategic investments, foreign direct investments. Some of these initiatives have paid off. We have seen through the years that the figures in the FDI have been rising. Some not. We have been improving ourselves. So one of our latest initiatives that we took was actually the development of this investment corporation, which I am now also working in. So the Investment Corporation of Albania is a device that was developed with a mission to take assets from the state that are dormant, that are not very attractive to investors, to take these assets, to do the project, the feasibility project for them, to do some infrastructure investments, and then make these assets more attractive, to do a plan, a business plan that can be attractive for the investors, and then go and, let's say, knock on the doors of the investors and propose these assets to them. Propose to come and invest in our country, in these assets, in these projects, but together with the Albanian Investment Corporation. This means that for an investor to have the safety that it has also a corporation, which is a state-owned corporation, to have in the investment a state-owned corporation, to do the investment with them, it's a better, let's say, solution that can bring more investors in our country. We have, as you said, we have a lot of assets. We are a country that we have been blessed by God because of the many days, about 300 days of the year are with sun. So we'll have a lot of sun. We have a big coastline, a lot of beautiful nature, very close to many countries in Europe. So as you mentioned, we have close to Italy. We are in the Western Balkans region. We are also close to Greece and other countries. So we are in the middle of Europe. We are starting also, and from 2017, a big cooperation with countries in the region, in the Western Balkans region. Why? Because we see ourselves as one big region. We are not by ourselves as Albania, but we can cooperate with Serbia, with Kosovo, with Montenegro.
Western Balkans.
Yes. So if investors see us as one region, it's also better for them, also in terms of startups and in terms of entrepreneurship. We have been talking with them, and we have been taking actions in order for angel investors to see the region as a whole, not only as Albania, but also as the other countries. And all of us, and especially Albania, have been taking initiatives such as the startup law, which was an initiative actually which began by a former Minister of Protection of Entrepreneurship, who is here. I also, at that time, when the law started, I was leading the development programs unit, and I started a program called Innovation and Startups, and trying to build this ecosystem, which I'm very glad to see that it has brought some results. We have seen that people now, young people, want to start startups. They are like thriving to find financing in order to start the startups, to grow the startups, and even grow internationally. So we have taken so many initiatives. The last law that we passed this year is the law on technoparks. We want to very soon develop the first technopark in Tirana. And the Albanian Investment Corporation is the partner with the municipality of Tirana in order to develop such technopark. So we have had many initiatives. We are having a lot of new initiatives coming. So I think you should all see Albania as a potential to invest.
You say invest in Albania.
Yes.
But Mr. Minister says invest in KwaZulu-Natal. He says invest in Tunisia. He says invest in San Marino. So investors will invest in which country, we will see. We will see it. So I think General Faris summarized the issue very well. He looked from the space and saw it is only one word. So invest in the word. I think this is a better message. Dear ministers, thank you very much. But before closing the session, hospitality is very important for us, for the WBAF, also in Turkey. So could you please translate these to Governor Kolar, dear lady? I think you are translating, isn't it? Could you please translate to Governor Kolar? Hospitality is very important for the World Business Angels Investment Forum. You can translate. And unfortunately, our protocol director today made a big mistake. He is our chairman for Croatia, and he is one of the best contributors of entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem in Croatia. So I want to apologize for, unfortunately, the mistake made today by our protocol. So I couldn't introduce him in person to dear ministers. So now I want to introduce him from here, Madam Minister, our dear Chairman Kolar, and he's governor of Zagorja in Croatia. And let's give a big hand for Governor Kolar. Governor Kolar, thank you very much for your understanding. Sometimes such kind of mistakes happen, unfortunately. Thank you very much. Thank you.